Hi everyone, I'm Ashley Simmons, and for this book review, I'll be discussing the largest selling sales book of all time, Jeffrey Gitomer's The Little Red Book of Selling, 12 and a Half Principles of Sales Greatness. The author begins this book by laying out a lot of foundation information for the reader before they get to the principles mentioned in the book's title. Throughout the book, there are free read bits that give the reader access to more material that wasn't packed into this little book by visiting Jeffrey Gitomer's website online. He explains what the salesperson's complaint is, or what he calls the red wine, and then provides action to correct the problem, which is referred to as the red selling response. This theme is carried out through the entire work. Jeffrey chose red because red is the color of passion, it's the color of love, it's the brightest color, it's the most visible color, and it's fire. So like I said, a lot of time is spent preparing the reader to understand the 12 and a half principles, but it's time well spent. Each principle is short in page length, but answers nearly any question you could think of. Principle number 1 explains that you have to want to sell. You are responsible for your own success or failure. Principle number 2 emphasizes the importance of being prepared to offer solutions to customer problems. Principle number 3 talks about the importance of being well known and trusted. Number 4 focuses on the importance of providing free value to your customers. Principle number 5 gives the readers ways to network and does a pretty good job doing that. Principle number 6 says you have to talk to the decision maker because ultimately they write the checks. Principle number 7 advises guiding customers so they can come to their own decisions. Principle number 8 discusses how to use humor to build trust and ultimately sell. Principle number 9 says you have to create the next big thing so that everyone else copies you. Principle number 10 demonstrates the importance of branding, trust, and social proof to build relationships. Principle number 11 says to get customers to tell the other customers about you. Number 12 says always be aware of what's going on around you. And finally, number 12 and a half says just simply that you need to be focused on selling. Unfortunately, I bought the Kindle version of this book, so at first it was a little bit difficult to follow. It took me reading through the first 2 principles to really grasp how the author had laid out everything. But I would definitely recommend purchasing the hard copy of this book after seeing and using it. This book was truly an enjoyment to read because even though some of the information was repeated, the quality of the information was there and it was stated differently than I had ever read before. I would absolutely agree that this book should be read several times, but fortunately it can be applied to any industry, so everyone should really read this, like I said, several times. Jeffrey was very blunt and forward about the principles he presented, but it was easy to read and he used real life examples. And it kept me interested, so it made me read the whole book in almost no time at all. I work in sales, so I've heard a lot of what Jeffrey was talking about before. Between all the different trainings I've been to and just doing my own research and reading, it's kind of repetitive. However, like I said before, it is stated in a way that's completely different from anything else I've read, and he is so forward and with his real life examples, it's easy to apply it to my own job. I work in agriculture and I sell seed and other crop inputs, and I kept thinking all along, how does this apply to me? How does this change how I need to be doing my job? And at first, when I started reading it, I didn't believe it could really apply to me because of the industry I work in. It's all commodity. It's all farmers who are price. But it's really amazing the principles you can take away just by reading this book quickly. I would recommend that anyone in any sales position read the Little Red Book of Selling, because these 12.5 principles of sales greatness are pretty amazing, and I really appreciate every one of you taking the time to watch my video.